Hi everybody, I'm up late tonight because I wanted to do this update on Veta Belford's story. I've gotten some information from the family, things that they've told me about Veta's case, and I want to share it all with you. And I want to go over some of the information they gave me that what they were told, that it just doesn't make sense. The things that they were told, it just doesn't make sense. So we're going to be going over that in just a sec. So a friend of Akine's, that is Veta's mother, sent me an email to let me know what was going on with that case. And I feel it's very interesting information. And the police have pretty much just wiped their hands of this because I'm sure they believe that Veta left on her own terms and left herself. But I have an argument to that. And I don't agree with him. I still think this case should be completely gone through, all from the beginning to the end. We want to go over what's happening, and I'll explain to you why I come to this conclusion. But first of all, I want to read to you the email that I received from, I don't know if she wants her name out there or not, so I'll just leave it off for now. But anyway, it goes like this. I got to read the quote and everything. Due to no help or interest from the Sacramento police and little help from the paid PI, and that is just outrageous. People use their last dollar, this is me, not the quote. People use their savings to hire a private investigator, and for someone to just take that money and not come back with any information at all to the family is just a crime. And there should be some prosecution for people like this. They just taken the money and that's it. And this is what, I mean, it seems like all the bad things that could possibly happen on a missing person case is all happened to this family. And I, you heard me get on my soapbox when I first posted the first video on this about how upset I was about all this. But it was just like several things were happening that happens like on other missing person cases, but not all these things in one. And here was all happening here. So let me go back and stay on track this time. I've got a lot of stuff bubbling up inside I want to talk to you about, but let me finish up this first. So let's see. She says, Veta's mother and I took it upon ourselves to go to all Veta's contacts on her phone, and they found nothing. All right. He would not tell us. We then went to Home Depot and cornered the manager who fired Veta. He would not tell us why, but did tell us that they gave Veta her last paycheck and accrued sick time, which was $1,000. Veta's mother and I took it upon ourselves to go to all of Veta's contacts on her phone and found nothing. We then went to Home Depot and cornered the manager who fired Veta. He would not tell us why, but did tell us they gave Veta her last paycheck and accrued sick time, which was $1,000. They gave her this money in cash. We then went to the Greyhound, oh my gosh, in cash. I'll go back to that. We then went to the Greyhound bus station and sweet talked the lady into checking their database, and sure enough, Veta bought a one-way ticket to New York City on that same day she went missing, $273. So I'm assuming she means $273 for the ticket. So this is a young lady, it's still in the quote, this is a young lady that has never driven a car or never spent the night away from home. She has no ID with her, no clothes, it says cloths, but I'm sure she means clothes, not even a coat. Her mother is killing herself with worry. Please, please help us get this word out in New York. It is also pitiful that it took two women with no experience to uncover this information. What is going on with the police department? If she was a pretty blonde white girl, maybe they would care more. We are begging for your help. Well, I don't know about that last part, but it does make you wonder, are all cases treated like this? Because if they are, it's shameful. And if they aren't, it's even more shameful. So first thing, I do think the police department needs to check up on her. Now, according to police, they wiped their hands of this, and she bought a ticket, so she must have went to New York City, and that's where she went on her own volition. So everything is good. No, it's not. First of all, we got to check. We got to check because she had no ID with her. All right. Now, I'm not sure if when you get on a bus, if you have to have an ID to buy a ticket. I'm not sure of that. And we know she did not have any ID with her. None, unless, she just didn't. Her mom said she didn't. The family said she didn't. She didn't have an ID with her. So she bought a ticket. So if she went to buy that ticket, how do we know for sure that was her that bought the ticket? If they don't require an ID, then it could have been anybody using her name purchasing this ticket. This doesn't mean that that was actually her that bought the ticket. This is what's got to be checked up on. And I just don't understand this. I don't even know if the police have put Veta under NCIC or not. They're supposed to be doing this. She's under the Suzanne Act. She's under 20, so they're supposed to be putting her immediately in NCIC, and I don't know if they've even done this. If they have done this, then New York City would have this information, and they'd be able to call them and say, hey, look, can you put that, well, it's going to be national, but they could draw their attention to them that it was put in there. So if she got pulled over for any reason or walking down the street, they would know that somebody was looking for her. So we don't even know if that has been done yet. But let's go back to this payroll stuff, all right? Now, no one, no manager, no corporation, no company would pay an employee cash. Now, a business run by a one or two people that was small, yes, they could do that. But a corporation, they have policies they have to go by. And the policy is that HR takes care of this. So if she has her paycheck there, that could be a possibility. But what happened to depositing the check? You know, everybody's getting their paychecks automatically deposited. There's some corporations and companies that require that. They won't even hand it to you or mail it to you. They've stopped that years ago. It's going immediately into your bank account. But this manager, this Home Depot manager, is saying that he had her paycheck and gave it to her. This makes no sense. The police got to know this. This doesn't make any sense. All right, and then the $1,000 cash. Where did this manager get the $1,000? Did he get it out of the cash register? Well, he did if he wanted to lose his job, because you can't go over to the cash register, pull out $1,000 and mix up this money with a payroll, paying somebody payroll. So he may have said he did this, but it didn't come from HD Corporation, because that policy, as soon as the corporation found out he did that, he would have been fired. This doesn't make any sense. And so these explanations of what happened when she was fired, they don't seem legitimate. It does not make sense. An employee would not do this. So why would an employee jeopardize their job? A manager, why would he jeopardize his job by telling this mother and her friend that this is what happened, that he gave her her payroll check and then gave her $1,000 cash? Why would he say that? Why would he say that? I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. The other thing that runs across my mind is that he talked with Veta's mother. Now, Veta is an adult, and he should not have been talking to anybody. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm glad he did, because they were able to get some information, although I don't know how truthful it all is. But he should not be talking to anybody about his employees. They're adults. I know it's Veta's mother, but he really shouldn't be telling her anything. This is a personal thing between the employee and the employer. So why was he talking and telling her this information? I don't understand about that. So the first thing that I think the family should be doing is they should be calling the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have a law, the Suzanne's Law, that Veta falls under, and it's for people 20 years and younger, that they can help them when someone goes missing and they're 20 years and younger. So they should go right over there and talk to these people and get some guidance, and they should be able to help them and get this whole situation more organized, and probably be able to give them advice that would help them expedite this case. The other thing is, I think they should be contacting the police chief, not just the police of Sacramento, the police chief. Call him, get him on the line, set up an appointment if they need to go in there and have him explain a lot of these things. There's weird questions here, like the payroll question. What does he have to say about that? Also, why aren't they checking up on her to make sure that was her that bought the train ticket? And is she in NCIC? We need to know that, because legally she's supposed to be on NCIC. She's the age. She's supposed to be in there. And if they haven't put her in there, they need to be doing that. All right. And the other thing that came to mind is contacting Home Depot Corporation itself. They need to find out they're in Atlanta, and they need to contact the corporation and tell them what's going on in the store. Tell them what the manager said, and tell them that their child is missing, and explain all this information. I'm sure there's somebody that would be able to take time and talk to them about the situation, and maybe they can call back to the manager and get to the bottom of what's going on, because this definitely does not make sense, this whole story. So I have suggested this to the family. I've already in contact with them, and I asked them to look into doing the things that I suggested. Hopefully they'll follow through with this, and I'm waiting to hear back from them to see what they found out. And I'm hoping that this will put them in a forward motion with Veta's case, and maybe something will come about on this. So that's about it for today. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm on here a lot longer than I intended to be, because I got a little passionate about this case. It's really driving me a little crazy. I'm hoping that Veta, if she went off on her own recourse and decided to go to New York, that's fine and everything, but I know that this family would just like to hear her voice and find out that that's what she's done and that she's safe and everything, because she could have on the train and had that money. Now what? You know, she accessed her bank account at all? I haven't heard anything about that to get the rest of her money, or did she pull it out at some time and had been hoarding it into, but she didn't know she was going to get fired. So how would she be even prepared for this? I mean, she didn't take any clothes with her, didn't take her ID, we know, and she wouldn't even be prepared to sneak out of town, kind of a thing. You think she'd go home and maybe, I mean, if she really wanted to go, she could have gone home and then at the regular time, and they got the next morning, and her mother could have dropped her off, and at that point in time she could have had her belongings with her, so she would be a little bit more prepared to take some things with her and gone to New York. But she didn't. She just walked out of that parking lot and got on a train, and they want us to believe that. So I'm having a lot of trouble. There's just too much here. I'm not sure that someone didn't escort her out of town or take her out of town. I just want her family to hear her voice. I just want the family to know that she's all right. That's not asking a lot, and that's something that the police department should be doing. They should be making sure that they got the information on NCIC so that they can receive information from the New York Police Department and find out that she's okay. All right, off the soapbox, Jerry. Oh, this one is really bothering me. All right, everybody, I hope everything turns out good with this, and it just turns out that she left to New York on her own and all that. But we all want to have a happy ending to this case, and no one would be happier than me to know that she's all right. I take that back. Her mom, for sure. Her family, for sure. They'd be ecstatic. So I'm hoping that this little bit that I've added on, it will help people look in their area in New York. Right now, we don't even really have what part of New York, but we'll just assume it's New York City. And you guys, I think back here it says, take it to New York City. So she still could be in that area. So if you're in that area, please keep an eye out for her. You've seen her pictures and everything. And if you see her, by all means, call the family. They've got their number everywhere. Call me and I'll make sure the family gets the information. Any tips if you think you saw her? That too. All right. Okay, you guys, I'm rattling on enough. Thanks so much for listening. Appreciate you all. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.